guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the NDD Games YouTube channel. Today we've got a bit of a spicy video, deck profile, whatever you want to call it. Going to be discussing a big sleeper for the format. We've got the YCS next week. We've got Utrecht coming up in about 6 weeks' time. So yeah, really exciting times. The format and the meta is really taking shape at the moment. I've been driving up and down the country, literally the UK, for the last couple of weeks, playing loads of regionals, OCS championships. So yeah, I've got to see the format firsthand in how it's shaping up, and I've got a good idea of how it's gonna shape up for the months ahead. And I've got a deck that I think can sort of combat the meta and isn't too bad. It's a rogue option, but I think you guys will quite enjoy it. So without further ado, we're gonna get straight onto it. It is Draco. Best deck. No, it's not the best deck, but it certainly can do well. I haven't got any footage, but it's not really a difficult deck to play, to be fair. But with the addition of DPE at the moment, and there can be only one, is like one of the most impactful trap cards or floodgates this format. I was like, what deck can play well with both of these engines? And I was looking over some decks I had, and I was like, oh, Draco. And then I remember back in 2019. This deck was like super oppressive against like Salomon Great, Thunder Dragon, because the way it can control the game, and obviously the trap cards are and the engine cards are actually really strong. So we'll just go over it. So the monster lineup, you always keep this quite compact. You don't really need to like play 3 Maiden. You could probably cut 1 Maiden, to be fair, but it's just another option. Obviously we have Diagram at 1 here in the TCG, so it's just another name, another option to get your engine going. And of course, this searches Dynamite Knight. So yeah, this is the lineup. You could probably cut an Ignis Heat, to be fair, but I quite like this lineup of 6 monsters, True Draco monsters, because you always want to see one, to be fair. So yeah, Dynamite Knight, 3 Ignis, and Maiden. So Dynamite Knight can activate when your opponent activates any card effects. While you control it, tribute summoned, you can quick effect, take a continuous trap card and activate it or add it to your hand. So it gives you access to your engine, as well as Ignis Heat. So same effects, but yeah, it's pretty much the same effect. So I'd say he's way better than Maiden, because Maiden only gives you access to the monsters. I think Ignis and Dynamite Knight are like super important. Obviously, he gets you access to the trap card. He gets you access to the spell card. So there is a massive difference there, but it's around about the same effect, because you're always going to be getting like good draw power of this deck anyway. And then next we play the DPE Engine. It's just super good, like the versatility it has to pop your own back row, and then get a pop. It can break boards like crazy going second. Obviously DPE on its own is just pretty good, because you want to simplify the game state with your floodgates and your pop in, and then sort of use DPE to take advantage of that. So Prosperity, this does conflict with the draw power of Heritage. So you could probably play Desires. I like Prosperity because I want to see Fusion Destiny, but you could actually cut this for Desires, or just play more Floodgates, in fact, because you're always going to be drawing cards anyway. You could even play one. Actually, no, you don't want to play cards in Desires because you want to special summon off Fusion Destiny. But I like Prosperity. I like digging for my deck. It's a really good card, and you're not always drawing off Heritage turn 1 anymore. So, like, unless your hand's nuts. So this card does give you good follow-up and sets up your board nicely. The Disciples and the Heritage, I'm not too sure why you would play less, especially if you're playing Pure. So for you people like who aren't aware of what the cards do, so Disciples, you can target 3 True Draco or True King cards in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck and draw a card. So if you're always popping off DPE and Diagram, you can just recycle all your resource and get a draw off it, so it's pretty good. And obviously all the True Draco cards, when they're sent from the field or the spell trap card zone to the graveyard, they get to destroy cards in the field. The spell cards destroy the spell trap cards, and then the trap cards destroy monsters. So yeah, there are loads of synergy with the deck with DPE. And yeah, like I said, it can break boards. Heritage, so this is the one where, let's say for example, you send a trap card and a monster, or they get destroyed. During your turn, you can draw a card for every type that's sent from the field to the grave. So you can get quite a few draws off this, especially if you have Diagram set up as well. So yeah, it's like naturally the deck does have quite a bit of draw power. Back in the day, Demise Draco was insane. like the amount of draw power you used to have was pretty nuts. But these days, you're just trying to simplify the game state. But naturally, the deck does have good draw power. Diagram, Rip, is at 1. I don't think it'll come back for a while, to be fair. But yeah, you play 2 copies of it, Terraforming. I was playing Mystic Mine in this deck, but I didn't feel like you need it with DPE. You could probably tech it in if you want to play more than 40 cards, but I just preferred like Solemn Strike, but we'll go on to that in a minute. Dark Ruler Droplets. I like this combination of these cards at the moment. I think they do so much in terms of breaking boards. And like I said, if you can just break opponent's board with the Spell Trap cards, you normally have quite a good follow-up with the Disciples and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty good. Obviously, Droplets does have the synergy where you can send a Spell Trap card, get the gate, and a pop. So it is a lot of synergy. And then recur them back with these Disciples or Heritage. And then we played the Apocalypse. Apocalypse is actually nuts. Like, it's actually a really good card. So if it's obviously all the trap cards when it's sent from the spell trap card zone or the field, you can destroy a monster on the field. And then Apocalypse allows you to target another True King or True Draco card you control, destroy it, and if you do, half the attack and defense of all face-up monsters your opponent controls, even if it leaves the field. So yeah, it's just a way to disrupt your opponent during their turn, and it can just protect your board by halving the attack and defense. And then during the main phase, you can use the effect to tribute summon. And then obviously, if you use it to tribute summon over using like an Ignis, you can send it to the graveyard and it gets a pop. So it does have a lot of disruption. So a really good card to want to max out on it for sure. True King's Return. Was this limited? I'm sure it's limited for quite a few weeks or years. Sorry, but basically what it does is has the same effect. It destroys a monster if it leaves the field, and then it's a monster reborn effect, summoning back one of your True Draco monsters in defense. And then for the rest of the turn you can't special summon, but you don't really care because normally you do that in your opponent's turn anyway. And then during your main phase, you can use the effect to tribute summon. So again, these cards are pretty good. Give you good ground game and disruption during your opponent's turn as well. And obviously one of the best cards in the game right now is They Can Be. So this is why I feel like this deck has a good place in sort of budget rogue meta in the budget rogue version of the meta, or for newer players trying to get into the game. It's just a good deck to pick up, and it can just steal wins with some of these cards. I opt to play Solemn Strike in this, but you could play Mystic Mine. Could play Gozen perhaps. Depends on your feel, I suppose. I don't think Rivalry is worth playing at the moment, but so I thought maybe Solemn Strike has better coverage going second and stuff as well. So yeah, Solemn Strike, and that's 40 card main deck. Go for the side deck. So you play Lava Golem, obviously just outspores on its own. For back row matchups, so we want to play Pankratops because it's good in general going second, as well as Harvey's Feather Duster. Evening Match is pretty cracked right now. It's a really good card. Some Judgments for when you come first, you can take out Dark Rulers and then put these in. I don't know how I feel about Pure Order because you kind of need your spell cards. Again, you can just pop this with DPE anyway, but it's probably safer to have it in the side deck. Same with Anti-Spell, but in theory, Anti-Spell, although you think, oh yeah, a lot of my deck is Spell, you do all your thing turn 1 anyway, and then you just flip it, and most of the time it can turn off 80%, 60% of your opponent's hand. So that's why it's a crazy card. Even though you play a lot of spell cards in this deck, it doesn't necessarily matter. You can also play through it by setting spell cards and then tribute them over with one of your True Draco monsters and then getting a additional pop off it. So yeah, it definitely comes up. Pretty solid side deck, but yeah, I think it works, definitely. You could also play Sphere mode as well, but I think Lava Golem is more versatile. Extra deck, so obviously DPE Verte. You can actually make Verte, not easily, but you can make it certainly in the grind game if you don't have DPE access already. Link Spider, clearing tokens for Dino. We have a lot of space in the extra deck, so we just play cards that in theory come up, but practically would never come up. Same with Cerberus, Phoenix, Unicorn. Ningirsu could potentially come up. Selene access code, maybe. Like I said, you don't really commit too many monsters to the board, but these cards just come up in theory, but practically never come up. I think the cards that most likely would come up, obviously other than DP and Verte, would probably be the Dogmatica stuff, and then Mega Fleet in case we play a random Cyber Dragon player. So yeah, that is the deck. So for people thinking, oh, I can't afford this deck. This deck does seem cool. I'd love to play this deck. However, I haven't really got like the money to buy droplets DPE. There is a budget deck, so I did include this on my last video of my top 5 budget decks. Obviously, droplets is in here, but you can play chalice. And what we're doing here is utilizing the Monarch's Erupt. So I haven't posted this video yet, but at the time that I post this video, my top 5 budget decks will be up. But I explained there, so the Monarch's Erupt is a crazy trap card. It used to be limited or banned. I think it was limited, but it's at 3 now. So as long as you control a face-up Tribute Summon monster, and you have 0 cards in the extra deck, you can negate the effects of all the monsters on the field except Tribute Summon monsters. So that's pretty good. It's pretty insane floodgate. This with there can be only 1. Those are pretty solid floodgates, to be fair. Like I said, this is like more of a budget version, but you can opt to play Chalice instead, as well as like Cosmic Cyclones. I wouldn't play Twin Twister in this deck. Could even play MST if you go with super budget. But yeah, the deck is actually not too bad. Play Desires as well. A lot of people don't like Desires in this deck, but it's just extra draw power, because you can just go crazy with draw power with Heritage and Disciples and get like 3-4 draws during your turn. Obviously, you play Duality as well, because there's no DP in this deck. So yeah, it's not a bad deck. I did do pretty well with it. Yesterday, I won a Iron Man event, so yeah, it can certainly compete with it with the meta. And yeah, let me know what you guys' thoughts. You know, I'm always curious to see what people think about my theory and sort of deck discussions. But yeah, that is Draco this format. If you guys have any questions, drop in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.